Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about overheating. Yes, that's right. The Fujifilm X-S20 does overheat. So let's talk about my findings. I want to give a special thanks to Fujifilm Portugal for sending me a review unit so I can test out the camera for you guys. With that out of the way, let's talk about the overheating. A couple of you guys have mentioned that this camera overheats. So I tried to do as many stress tests as I can to see if that was true. The first thing I did was film at 6.2K at 24 frames per second inside the living room. So it was room temperature, wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, and I didn't change my auto power temp settings. It was just at normal. Just a side note though, once you get this camera, you should turn the temperature settings to high right away. Otherwise, once you start filming, you're going to notice that this camera shoots off a fire warning really quick. Okay guys, so within 5.5 minutes, I saw a warning sign that says that the camera is getting hot. Yeah. Okay, so 9 minutes in, that icon turned red from yellow. By the time it reached 9 minutes though, it turned red, and it finally crapped out around 13 minutes and 30 seconds due to overheating. And again, I would like to reiterate, this is with my auto temp power settings set to normal. So again, I highly recommend you guys turn this to high to avoid the camera to shut down at such an early time, because I find this to be very early. I tried that test again, 6.2K at 24p, f-log2 at 320 megabits per second. And this time I had the auto power temp setting changed to high. And around the 5-minute mark where I got the first warning, I did not get it here in the second attempt. Okay, now we passed the time limit where the X-S20 shut down at. In the first test with the overheating, it stopped at around 13 minutes, and right now we are at 19 minutes. So this is a huge improvement. And by the time this camera reached the 34-minute mark, there was still no overheating warning sign at all. So we are 34 minutes into this recording and no overheating signs as of yet. Let's touch the camera. It does feel a little bit warmer than usual. So there's that, but it's going strong. 35 minutes. Right then and there, you should already see how much of a difference it makes by just changing the auto power temperature settings to high. You get almost more than double the recording time already. I would like to add that the camera was warm to the touch, so just be mindful of that. This is not something you want to do while you're holding this camera by hand. Otherwise, you're just going to burn your hands off. So I recommend, if you're going to be doing long form recording, to use a tripod. And the Fujifilm X-S20 did manage to fill up my memory card. I was using a 128GB SanDisk V90 cards. And if you're interested, I'll leave the links to the memory cards down in the description below. And I would like to say, by the time it filled up my memory card, there was still no overheating warning. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we did the full memory card, recorded on a 128GB memory card, and it's still here. It's warm as heck though. It's quite warm. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna format the card and we're gonna do this one more time. It recorded about 46 minutes of 6.2K footage, 24p, without any overheating warning coming up. So again, I kept going. I kept pushing this test. I reformatted my memory card and I started to continue the next cycle. This time, I took the X-S20 outside the balcony area because it was hotter outside. We got hot air coming in from the Algarve. It was around mid-30s, around 33 to 35 degrees Celsius, which is around 90 to 95 in Fahrenheit. All right, we're 12 minutes in, 13 minutes in, and so far nothing yet. By the 33-minute mark outside in the heat, the overheating warning sign appeared. Again, it finished filling up the card where the yellow sign was still there. It wasn't red yet, which is great. Okay, so the overheat sign just went on at 33 minutes. This is where we're at right now, guys. Now, this is where I stopped because I didn't want to continue on any further. So take this information and extrapolate it and use it how you see fit. I filmed in 6.2K, 24p, 320 megabits per second at f-log2 with auto power temperature setting to high. And it managed to do 2 full cycles with the overheating warning sign coming on near the 33-minute mark on the second run. I think that is pretty good. And it filled up my memory card twice, so you're getting around 92 minutes of footage Is that right? 92? 40, 80? 90, yes, 92. But again, the camera was warm to the touch. It's crazy how warm this camera gets. And I think it's because of the build of this camera. With all this new tech inside, there's basically the same body as the XS10. I would say that the overheating is warranted because again, look at this body. It's so freaking tiny. There's like not any heatsink in this body right here. It's doing a lot in this tiny little battery, which I find to be very impressive. I was testing the 4K 24p f.2 again at 320 megabits per second. And with the 4K 24, it was a little less demanding than the 6.2K. It lasted a bit longer until the first overheating sign came on. The first 2 times it filled up the memory card, and then quickly after that, I started the 3rd cycle again. Around the 30-minute mark of the 3rd cycle, it got its first overheating warning, but it went all the way to the end, filling up the memory card for the 3rd time. Again, I was testing this outside where the temperature was around 33 to 35 degrees Celsius. This is where I concluded the testing because I couldn't wait around anymore to watch the overheating sign popped off. So at least for 4K 24p, you can definitely record a lot longer than 6.2K. So again, do what you will with this information and extrapolate it however you like. The last test that I did was with 4K 60. Now, this is where the camera did shut down many times. So Fujifilm sent me the fan alongside with the Fujifilm X-S20. And when I opened the package, I was like, what the fuck? Why do I need a fan for it? And then throughout these overheating testings, it dawned on me why they sent me the fan. Fujifilm, you cunning minx, you. I know why. Let's get back to it. At first, I did 4K 60 without the fan, and it overheated around the 13-minute mark. The camera shut down completely, and it got very, very warm. So I waited for about 30 minutes for the camera to cool down again so I can do that test again, but this time I attached the fan accessory to the camera. The fan did help with making the camera last longer. This time the camera shut down around the 19-minute mark due to the overheating. So the fan gave the XS20 about an extra 6 minutes of record time. This is about a 46% increase, which is pretty good. I waited for another 5 minutes before I start up the camera again, and I was able to get another 5 minutes of 4K 60 recording before it shut down. So in total, you get around 25 minutes of extra footage plus an extra 5 minutes of waiting period. So there you have it, folks. This is my overheating test for the Fujifilm X-S20. If you film 4K 60 a lot for your work, I suggest you look into the X-T5 or even the X-H2S or the X-H2 with better heat management. I have to remind people that this is a starter camera. Fujifilm is marketing this camera to the social content creators out there, the people that want to dabble in this world. I personally think that the overheating is not an issue for me. Again, if I were to shoot 4K 60, I'm going to be doing it in little bursts because I'm using it to slow down my footage on a 24p timeline. When I do film my YouTube videos or my TikToks or my YouTube shorts, I'll be using the 6.2K, and it looks like it would be able to hang long enough for me to get the job done. Again, I find this to be like a camera to complement like the X-T5, the X-H2S, or the X-H2. I wouldn't trust it that much on like a big photography job that you might have, a photography gig that you may have. I recommend you guys looking into the X-H2S if you guys are serious about your video work. But do let me know your thoughts on this issue. Do you guys think this camera with its overheating issue a deal breaker for you guys? Because I think that the Sony a67, a camera that is also around the same price as the X-S20, it overheats, and I believe it's worse than the X-S20. At least with Fujifilm, they sell you a fan accessory to deal with the overheating. I don't think Sony has one for their Sony a6700. But there you have it. These are my findings. If you're interested in the Fujifilm X-S20 or the fan, I'll leave the links to them down in the description below. And if you find this video helpful, consider subscribing to my channel for more Fujifilm content. As always, my name is Tongue, and I'll see you in the next video.